Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going over the 12.0 Mistweaver raid guide. In this video, we will be going over our stats, core abilities, talents, our Yulon rotation, as well as gameplay and spell prio outside of cooldowns. On my website, wayofthecrane.io, I will have a shortened written version of the same guide where you can go and reference and read as you need. Stat-wise is the same as it is for Mythic Plus, with Intellect being our highest prio stat and Haste being our highest secondary stat. Haste will provide you with a faster global cooldown, increased hot take rate, shorter cast times, as well as cooldown reduction on some abilities. Next is Crit, which is important for throughput and mana generation through Mana Tea. Versatility will provide some throughput increases for damage and healing, but it doesn't contribute to Mana Tea generation like Crit does, versus more of a survivability based stat compared to Critical Strike. And lastly, Mastery is our lowest stat as it has very little interaction with our raid playstyle at all, and it should be avoided as much as possible in favor of any other stat. In this video, we are going to talk about two different builds that do have different spell priorities, but I want to give you the important abilities for both of them just up front. For the Vivify build, Renewing Mist is one of our most important spells. Through various talents and empowerments, it provides and enables a majority of our healing in raid. You will have 3 stacks of this with the Vivify build and should be using it on cooldown, as well as extending through Rushing Wind Kick. Vivify is one of our main casted heals, and it will also heal allies affected by Renewing Mist through Invigorating Mist. Vivify will also be an instant cast through either Soothing Mist or Vivacious Vivification. If you are talented into Shaylin's Gift, this becomes your main casted heal and where most of your throughput comes from. Over time in combat, you will generate stacks, which is made faster by Veil of Pride, and these stacks will increase the healing of Shaylin's Gift per stack. This is also made instant through Vivacious Vivification and Soothing Mist, and with Legacy of Wisdom talented, it will heal 5 people. The healing on Shaylin's Gift is higher on your main target rather than the cleave target, so make sure that you are prioritizing the more endangered players, like those with a heal absorb or hard-hitting dot. Enveloping Mist is a heal amp and a hot that is primarily used during our Celestial rotation, which we will talk more about in the cooldown section. And Enveloping Mist will also proc your Strength of the Black Ox procs, which come from our hero talent, and our Spirit Font procs, which are our Apex talents. Enveloping Mist will also be instant cast through Soothing Mist or Thunder Focus Tea. Soothing Mist is a little bit more of a tool than it is an actual heal. It is mainly used during our Celestial rotation to speed up spellcast and triage, as Enveloping Mist, Vivify, and Shaylin's Gift are all instant cast through the channel, and during the channel you can freely swap targets without breaking it. Spirit Font is our Apex talent, and it's pretty automatic. All you need to do to use it is cast Enveloping Mist when you have a proc, and it will do its thing. You should make sure that people are taking a decent amount of damage or are injured, since it will effectively turn off if there's no eligible targets to jump to. I do have a short on Spirit Font and the quirks that it has that I will link in the description if you are interested on a little bit more information for Spirit Font. Rushing Wind Kick is a damaging ability, but it does facilitate a lot of our healing depending on our build. It does some damage and healing itself, but the main use is to apply Renewing Mist through Rapid Diffusion and maintain those and extend Renewing Mist through Rising Mist. Rushing Wind Kick is also in our Yulon rotation, as it will also extend the Enveloping Mist duration through Rising Mist. This should be pretty much used on cooldown for overall hot coverage. For Thunder Focus Tea, if you are using the Vivify build, you will be using it on Renewing Mist for the haste through Secret Infusion and extended hot duration. If you are running the Shaylin's Gift build, you'll be using it on Enveloping Mist for the crit and the instant heal amps, as well as the instant cast. And for Mana Tea, this is our active mana management. The main idea here is just to drink regularly throughout the fight, ideally during downtime or lower damage intake moments, and make sure never to cap at 20 stacks. This is the class tree that we are working with. There's a little bit of variety based on which fight you're doing. Common swaps are Improved Detox for poison or disease dispels, Pressure Points for soothes, Diffuse Magic for self-dispels if there's a high amount of magic debuffs, Wind Walking for group speed, Chi Transfer for fights with small adds during high damage intake for self-healing, and Link Spirits could be taken if it's needed for some type of tight timer on mechanic stacks or something else. For the spec tree, we have 2 builds that could see play, but between them there are a few swaps for both builds. The common one is Restoral versus Revival. The main reason to take Revival is specifically for a large amount of magic dispels where appropriate. Gift of the Celestials versus Jade Bond is dependent on fight timers. At the moment, Gift fits more fights, but if it fits a 2-minute timer, then you can swap to that. If you are running the Shaylin's Gift build, I would run Jade Bond instead of Gift of the Celestials just because it fits the profile of the build better. Now for our two different builds, this is the Vivify build, and this is what most Mistweavers are probably used to, as it is a very similar playstyle to what we played in Manaforge Omega. This build is heavily reliant on renewing Mist coverage to heal through Vivify Cleave and Rushing Wind Kick. This is what was played more on beta and realistically could be buffed a little to be more competitive. Now we also have the Shaylin's Gift build, which is a very basic press healing button do healing type of build. We barely use Renewing Mist or have any hot coverage at all. This is much burstier and more spot healing focused, with Shaylin's Gift being the majority of our healing here. The only hots that you're really using is Enveloping Mist for the heal amp as well as the hot itself, but it is a much shorter duration than Renewing Mist, and we are not extending it through Rising Mist because this is a Tear of Morning build. This build came to be over the course of beta as a result of continuously buffing Shaylin's Gift for Mythic Plus and not nerfing it in Raid, nor giving Invigorating Mist a buff needed to compete. So this one is a little bit weird. It might end up getting nerfed, in which case we would go back to the Vivify build, but as of right now, this one is numerically stronger on some fights. For hero talents, currently Conduit of the Celestials is performing the best. Celestial Conduit is an additional button that you gain when playing Conduit of the Celestials. It is a channeled heal that you can move and cast non-damaging and non-healing abilities during. Things like Roll, Dispel, Ring of Peace, Leg Sweep, all of those. Jade Sanctuary is a damage reduction as well as a small personal heal when you use Celestial Conduit, and the DR will linger after the end of your cast. Strength of the Black Ox is a proc that is spent by using Enveloping Mist, which will then proc small absorb shields on allies. Stampede of the Ancients increases the value of the shield on the main target, so you can prioritize based on danger. Heart of the Jade Serpent increases the cooldown rate of Renewing Mist, Rushing Wind Kick, Life Cocoon, and Thunder Focus Tea. This will proc from Thunder Focus Tea as well as randomly from Vivify or Shaylin's Gift. Ideally, everything should be on cooldown when you use Thunder Focus Tea or Conduit to make the most of your CDR, but don't waste a button for the sake of the cooldown reduction. And lastly, Unity Within is the hero talent capstone, which will just proc all of your effects again at increased power. Most of your cooldowns will probably be assigned by your healing officer, but it is still good to understand what they do and what they're good at. Revival or Restoral is a heal that is not the strongest throughput-wise, but it is a masked spell, so it could be useful there. It is also instant cast, so it can cover high movement phases. Life Cocoon may be assigned to specific people doing hard mechanics, or may be used by the tank, otherwise just use it for priority healing and death prevention. Celestial Conduit is usually assigned to high movement phases since you can cast and move, and you also get a speed increase, but it is also a short bursty heal that provides additional throughput through Renewing Mist cooldown reduction if playing the Vivify build. For Yu'lon, when summoned, she will apply 5 Chi Cocoons to the group and heal through Soothing Breath. Most of the healing from Yu'lon is actually still coming from the player through Enveloping Mist, which provide a hot, the heal amp, in addition to proccing Renewing Mist through Rapid Diffusion. For the Vivify build, this is what a normal rotation with Yu'lon would look like. You were using your Thunder Focus Tea with Renewing Mist beforehand for the haste and cooldown reduction on Renewing Mist and Rushing Wind Kick, and then using Enveloping Mist to start spreading your healing. You use Rushing Wind Kick before the first Enveloping Mist that you applied falls off, and then you would continue applying a few more. Ideally, you start Vivifying when the damage hits and you heal through Vivify Cleave. For the Shaylin's Gift build, it's a little bit looser since we aren't working around hot extensions or anything. Before using Yu'lon, we are using Thunder Focus Tea with Enveloping Mist for the crit buff, and then we are just applying Enveloping Mist and using Shaylin's Gift as needed for injured targets during our Yu'lon. As far as gameplay outside of Yu'lon and other cooldowns, our main goal as a healer is to prevent deaths. This is usually through spot healing or things like Life Cocoon where it may not be an assigned cooldown. But we do want to hit our assigned cooldowns as well, so make sure that you know your timers and know how much time you need to ramp. Usually with Yu'lon, if it is the Vivify build, you want to be pressing your Vivifies as the damage happens. If it is the Shaylin's Gift build, it is a little bit more free. If you are playing the Vivify build, you do want to be using Rushing Wind Kick and Renewing Mist on cooldown, but for both builds, Enveloping Mist with Black Ox or Spirit Front procs as needed. Make sure you are not overcapping your manatee stacks, do not sit at 20 stacks. And outside of that, just use Vivify and Challenge for spot healing as needed on injured targets. If you need more help, the written version of this guide is on my website. There is also the Monk class Discord, Peak of Serenity, where we have some very experienced players available to help. Both Wowhead and Questionably Epic have guides from Swirl and Sweggles. WaitI'mRamping.com is a website from Swirl with some very helpful analytical and informational tools, and I also recommend checking out WowA for reviewing your own logs. I hope all of that was helpful. If you have any comments or questions, you can feel free to comment down below, catch me while I'm live, or ask in either my Discord or the Monk class Discord. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.